From BBC Radio Scotland, this is Sports Sound.
Don't be stupid, boys. Turn off Clyde, support your side.
I would like to leave this city. This old town don't smell too pretty, and I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. And when I leave this island, I book myself into a soul asylum, 'cause I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. So here I go, still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young, but my mind is very old. So what do you say? You can't give me the dreams that are mine anyway.
Good day, good evening, good afternoon or good morning wherever you are in the world. You're listening to the Half the World Away Celtic podcast from Hail Hail Media. My name's Kevin O'Neill and I'm based in Mandurah in Western Australia, originally from Coatbrig. As always, I'm joined on the other side of the country in Melbourne, Victoria, by my good friend and still that housewife's favourite, Mr. Patrick Close, originally from Airdrie. G-Day, Pat.
G-Day, Kevin. How are we?
Very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Getting ready for the game on Sunday, so getting a bit fired up.
Yes.
So, yeah, good. Summer's over though, Kev, in Australia.
Summer's over, although the weather has been beautiful in WA the last 3 weeks running, actually. We've had hardly a cloud in the sky for 3 weeks. It's been beautiful over here.
Just checking, it's 9:34 p.m. at night over here on a Thursday night, and it's still outside 21.5 degrees.
You can't sniff at that.
Yeah, you can't really.
Beautiful evening in old Melbourne town.
But it's footy season, Kev. Footy season started, so
yes.
Before we know it, it'll be pissing down rain, and we'll be freezing, trying to go to the football and get wrapped up with our beanies.
You'll be getting along to see St Kilda, your beloved St Kilda.
That's it. Well, actually, my on Sunday, not that this is definite yet, but you see when the kids play at half time, they call it a grid game in the AFL. So the kids go on at half time. Well, my son's playing in the grid game.
Good.
On the Oval at St Kilda versus Geelong on Sunday. So there you go.
Very good. Do your kids not get into that, the old NAB Auskick stuff quite a bit?
Oh, no,
they get onto the park.
We are very much a footy family. We've got actually on
Yes.
Sunday. This is our Sunday, right? So this is before the games. The game's at 9 o'clock at night on Sunday night, but 8 o'clock in the morning, I've got my youngest son plays at football, so I've got to finish that. Then my oldest son plays at 1 o'clock, and then my youngest son's got a birthday party. His birthday party on Sunday afternoon, just after that. And then after that, me and the oldest one go straight to the St Kilda Geelong game for him to do the grid game. Then I come home from there, and then back into the city for the Celtic game. So there you go, there's my Sunday, all sorted out.
Footy Sunday, right enough.
It's a football Sunday, a sports Sunday, so there you go, yeah. Sunday sport.
That is, mate. Do not burn yourself out before the Celtic game in the evening.
Oh, Celtic playing on Sunday, are they? Okay, fair enough.
Sunday. Yeah.
Anyway,
always good to hear from you, Patrick. We'll go around the houses. So, also regular guest all the way up there in Osaka, Japan. We have Mr. Liam Carrigan. Good day, Liam.
Good day, boys. How we doing?
Very good, Liam. How's life in Japan? Coming into it's well into springtime now, I suppose, up there, is it?
Aye, well, we had our cherry blossom festival over the last couple of weeks, which is when all the trees kind of in full bloom. You know, it only lasts
a few
about
people popping their cherries.
Aye, well, basically you have this. It's supposed to be a festival. You're supposed to sit and admire the beauty of the trees. Basically, you get a carry out and get pished in the nearest park. So sounds good.
like a home from home. Then I wouldn't have thought that type of culture happened up in the deepest, darkest Osaka, mate.
Oh no, it's funny actually.
I thought it would be very civilised.
I was getting the train home from work today, and this businessman sits down next to me, full suit on, whatever, and just pulls out a bottle of whiskey and starts swigging it.
Not even Buckfast.
Nobody even bats an eyelid. He pulls out a half bottle.
None of this messing about it.
Stuck into it.
Jesus. Bottle of beer, maybe even a cheeky bottle of wine, but straight into the hard stuff.
I did read, Liam, that was it not? Did the festival not come later? That because it's meant to be like when the cherry blossoms kind of bloom. I guess was it not meant to be late in Japan this year because of your weather or something?
Well, I think that there's certain parts of Japan where it's still not actually happened yet. They're leading up to it now, so it kind of starts down south and sort of works its way north, and Osaka's kind of geographically about halfway up. So we just finished it last week, so Tokyo's getting it now. Then a few weeks later it'll be Hokkaido and what have you. So
Hokkaido.
Aye.
Dreadful. Anyway, Liam, good to have you on as always, buddy.
Cheers.
Again, over in good old Melbourne, Victoria, we're joined for his second show, Mr. Paul Nelson. G'day, Paul.
G'day, Kevin, and thank you for having me back.
Oh, well, mate, not at all, mate. It's a pleasure to have you. The last show that I could not make, in fact, I should say as well, Liam, thank you so much for standing in with host duties for the last pod that I just could not make and missed. But I was glad you guys went ahead and did it. And I had a little listen back, and it was, dare I say, one of the best podcasts of this show has ever done. So I'm surprised you've asked me to come back on, actually. But no, it was very good. I really enjoyed listening to not so much yourself, part of Liam, but Paul gave us a great insight to some of the coaching and stuff like that. It was very interesting. Liam and Pat, you were just fully normal shit, but Paul, it was absolutely... It was a joy to the ears, mate, that podcast.
That's it. Your checks in the post.
Well, actually, I think Paul. I mean, I don't know whether we want to sort of digress a little bit. But Paul's probably he's now completed that part of the Celtic Academy.
Well, I was actually going to touch on that part, but you've done the little segue for me. So Paul, yes, absolutely. Welcome back to the pod, and hopefully you can make a few of these as well, because it's always good to get other people's views and stuff like that, and have a little pool of guests to get on if and when we can. But yeah, since that last show, you were talking about your company, Impact Soccer, and how there was some coaching sessions coming up. But since the last show, I believe that's all happened, and it's been pretty successful. Yeah.
Look, it was incredible. The feedback from parents and players on the coaching was, just outstanding. They raised the bar here significantly, and look, we're talking to them again to do something in September, October time. And I think the demand will just grow, because word will spread how impressive it was. I think some of the coaches last week were over in Perth as well, because obviously school holidays are different.
Yes,
in different parts of the country.
They've got a deal with a club in Joondalup, which is a kind of northern Perth suburb over here, and there's quite a lot of expats up there as well. So I haven't heard how that went, but I'm pretty sure it would have been successful as well. Yeah.
Well, they were here. Not just with Impact Soccer, but with other partners for the last month. But the highlight, I think, was last week. They had a 3-day elite player programme in Brisbane, and they had almost 100 kids that were invited from around Australia and I think New Zealand as well. But that was a full 3-day residential, the real living an academy day, where they were there for breakfast, training sessions, games, classroom sessions, whiteboard, tactical video analysis, Q&A, lights out at 10:30, back up in the morning, straight onto the park. And there was 15 kids that we sent up from Victoria, and
Okay.
the feedback from them is that they were just blown away with it. They were very, very impressed and looking for the next time that it can happen, which hopefully we can maybe even have something like that in Melbourne as well.
Excellent.
The weather was perfect up there. Great time of year to go to Brisbane.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was really, really good. And I think I'd like to think Celtic are now going back looking at it because that was the first one, and looking at it to see the potential and how they can hopefully grow it, and we'll help them do that in Victoria.
And will you get feedback from that on their kind of debrief when they go back to Celtic?
Yeah, that's the aim, because on that elite programme, for example, there may be 4 or 5 kids that will be selected if Celtic think they're at the level, and taken over to Celtic for a week to train at the academy. Recently, a couple of kids from North America were out at Celtic Park at half time and got introduced.
Yes, I read something.
Quite a big thing. So they're still going through all the assessments of the players, because obviously they're only going to take the ones that they think are suitable. It's not a PR exercise.
And what kind of ages are they, Paul? What kind of ages?
So that was 12 to 18.
Right,
and I think the kind of key group I think they're looking for is kind of the 12 to 16. I think, to be honest, like the ones that are young enough that are showing that the Celtic model at the moment is getting some rough diamonds and seeing what can happen with them. So look, fingers crossed. We actually sent up specifically 10 female players.
Okay.
Because there wasn't a lot of female players from the rest of Australia, and we wanted to demonstrate the quality and the improvement, and how women's football here, certainly in Victoria, is growing rapidly, and the quality's there. So I got specific feedback that they really held their own against the boys when they were up there, which is great for them.
Excellent.
And as I said, it could change somebody's life, I think, if they went over to Celtic for a week just to experience it and see what it's like.
And just finally on that, Paul, in terms of, you said you guys sent 15 players up there, but did that have to be funded by their parents, or can you send them up, or did Celtic pay for them to get to Brisbane, or how did that work?
So it was self-funded, but if anybody knows the price that you pay for soccer coaching in Australia, it can be astronomical. In some of the programmes, I think there was a Real Madrid programme here in Victoria that was only on a few hours a day for a week, and it was over $500. That Celtic programme was $675, and that included your accommodation, your food, the 3 days, everything in that package. So it was ideal. There was quite a few of the families that went up for a holiday, so they would maybe stay at the Gold Coast, and then taking their son or daughter up. They stayed for the 3 days, lived the life, got away from the mum and dad for a bit, really got to just absorb football 24 hours for the day. So I thought it was great value for money. And I think the programme that we had here in Melbourne, the feedback was that it was exceptionally well priced. And that's important for what we're trying to do through Celtic.
Well, that's good.
That it's open to as many people as we can, and your means is not a hindrance to your opportunity of joining in.
Excellent. You'll need to keep us updated, Paul, on the debrief and all the rest of it, and if they've got any other plans to come back to Oz.
No, definitely, because I see Liverpool are coming. It'd be great if Celtic and similar sponsors, maybe there's something can happen there as well. Would be great.
Good stuff. Right, guys, we'll get into it. We've got a little agenda to get through on this pod as well, so we'll kick it off. So very quickly, I suppose, just a brief look back at our last few fixtures. We won't spend too much time on them individually, but Liam, I guess I'll come to you first, because last 4 games we've won 2, we've drawn 2. Obviously some kind of crisis going on at Celtic Park. Demolished Hearts to win the title, but then we had a draw at home to the mighty Partick Thistle, beat Kilmarnock, but then we had another draw at the weekend there with the mighty Ross County as well. Crisis at Celtic Park, Liam?
I don't think so. What I would say though is, something I do want to say though is, fair play to Partick Thistle. They showed that if you come out and have a go and you're brave, you might get lucky, And they were, I thought, I mean, I didn't see the full game. I only saw kind of about 20 minutes of highlights, but I felt they were worthy of a point. You know, they played well, and I think that's a lesson to other teams. Is if you just go there and have a go, you know, you've got a chance. And well, Kilmarnock. I mean, just I really wish Kilmarnock would get relegated. I'm just sick and tired of watching. I've never once seen a good game of football involving Kilmarnock. They are just the most dull,
we're pumping them, maybe.
Depressing fucking team in the league, honestly.
They don't really inspire, do they?
Aye, I mean these days even the Killie Pies are shite now, you know. for what I've heard.
And we'll probably talk about the Ross County. We'll maybe speak about that a little bit later on. I'm getting into too much just now, but certainly no crisis from your point of view, Liam.
Not at all. No.
Patrick, in terms of Partick Thistle, Liam touched on it there. Did you catch any of that game at all? Did you see any of it? The one each.
Yeah, I think I saw, because it was a early morning during the week, wasn't it? It was like a Thursday morning for us.
It was an early morning one, but
yep. Getting ready. I was probably the same as Liam. They played pretty well, but I thought because didn't they play the Huns kind of recently as well? I can't remember the score.
Yeah.
But I thought they might have done better against them, but just going what we'd seen of them. But no, the party played well. They
were very well organised, I thought, and I think it's not so much because I think we were absolutely dominant, especially in that first half. We were absolutely dominant, but I think the thing that impressed me was that they were so organised defensively, and you know the way that we try and play now. We try and drag teams out from the defence, and we try to drag them to the left, we drag them to the right. We'll maybe try to push on, but then the passes and they'll go backwards, and we're trying to drag it. And they're trying to look for a space all the time. You can kind of see it unfolding, and I'm guessing, and Paul, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but the idea is to try and drag them out of some players out of position, and that's when you try and strike. But I thought Partick, just watching them, they were so well organised for the entire, and they must have kept their concentration for the entire 90 minutes in that game, and they did. They fancied their chances later on. They were actually there was one point with only a few minutes to go that I thought, please do not tell me this is how the undefeated run's going to end. Against the glory of Partick Thistle, but. There was that little spell just with a couple of minutes to go when it was one each, and you thought they are as likely as us to actually sneak something here because they were really going for it. How did you view that particular one, Paul? If you caught it or saw it?
Yeah, I saw the highlights, and I think everyone's saying spot on. I think they deserve a lot of credit for really working hard. They deserve their pay and everything on that day. And I think Brendan Rodgers had acknowledged that sometimes that's the way it goes. If the team come and they stick to their game plan and they've done their homework, they deserve something out of it. But look, I think for me the run, having won the league, undefeated, I think is the major achievement. And I think right now, if somebody said the treble or going undefeated in the league, what would you have? I'm not so bothered if we play we have a few off days from now to the end of the season, as long as we're at the cup final. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and look, I think with Rodgers coming back and a few others, I still think we'll do it. I think obviously the next couple of weeks and. What may or may not unfold from the refereeing in those two games, then I can't really see where we'll slip up. I think we've got the closer it gets. I think then we'll raise our game to actually make it happen. I think it's always inevitable after you've won the championship that there's a lull. I think you've done the hard work, and so many teams around the world, they lose the game after the week after they've won the title. So. I think we're in good shape, but as I say, as long as we're at the cup final, I'd go for that more than the undefeated. Yeah,
I think I would agree with that. Pat, would you have any different view from that, or the treble's more important than the undefeated run now? Now that we've done the league undefeated, I think that's a huge achievement. But I think we'd all rather take the treble than staying undefeated till the end of the season. You get the same view?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? You know, which one of these really cool toys you want? You know, I don't really know that one. Yeah, the both equally good. Yes, yeah. I mean, you want the treble, I guess. I guess what you don't want is to lose the unbeaten run at the that Mankey Mob's dung heap.
Yes,
the midden. That's the only thing. You're a scrappy draw, but you even take anything really just to get through it. You know, you'd like to spank them, but you just don't want to lose to them because that'll be like their cup final. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Assuming Sunday goes the way we think it's going to go, but that game the following Saturday will just be like, you know, it's at that time when we turned up to the chance of winning the league at Ibrox, and they beat us 3-1 or something. They smashed us. Let's face it. You know, and it was just one of those days where you just really wanted to, you know, you want that kind of sweet revenge, but it just never happened. And I think they'd be that fired up for the same thing. They just want to spoil it, and they'll kick and scrag and fight and bite and do whatever they have to do to win it. But but yeah, probably the treble, you'd say, for definite.
Yeah, Liam, you get the same view?
Aye, it's interesting though. I'm wondering. I think the treble's a done deal, right? But I'm wondering who is going to be the team that eventually beats us in Scotland, because it's going to have to happen eventually.
Correct.
The thing is, though, see, like teams that go on these big runs, right? If you look at the history of European football, it's usually a crappy little team that beats them. It's never usually their big rival. I mean, right, if I tell you, right, the AC Milan, right? You know, Hullet, Van Basten, and all that, right?
Remember them well.
Yep. They went, I think it was 105 games unbeaten, like 2.5 years unbeaten in the league, right? Do you know who finally beat them?
Right, I'm going to say somebody like Genoa.
Almost.
Somebody even worse than that. Pescara.
Parma.
They turned into a decent team right enough. The old
I
Parma.
mean, you know, they were all right, but at that point they were very much mid-table. You know, it wasn't like but that was it. Parma was the first team to beat them, and you know they beat AC Milan, they beat Juventus, they'd beaten all the big teams, but Parma was the team that beat them.
Parmalat.
And that's where, you know, I could see us one day slipping up to I don't know, a
Partick Thistle. Well, I guess that's kind of those thoughts that you're about there were the ones that were going through my mind. As you know, we'd done all the hard work against. Well, we'd won the league and had that great victory against Hearts. Won the league in style with that victory. But then we came up against a stuffy Partick team. But as I said earlier, just those last couple of minutes, they looked as likely of scoring as we did, I think. And I could kind of see, I thought, surely this is not the way we're going to lose this unbeaten run. You know, nobody would have been talking about the potential to lose your unbeaten run prior to that game kicking off, but it wasn't far off. So you're right, Liam, it's going to happen one of these days. And I don't think, you know, you couldn't really pick a team that you would choose to do it against, but we know it's going to happen. But I'd rather it wasn't the Sevconians, that's for sure.
As long as it's not the Huns or Kilmarnock, I'll be happy.
Kilmarnock. They're taking power. They're taking
really
power from you tonight. Oh my God.
I don't know why, but I've always had this kind of irrational hatred for Kilmarnock. I don't like the place. I don't like the team. I don't like it. It's a horrible place.
Manky. Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great place. Been down to Rugby Park many's a time. The best part about that was the trip home.
Aye.
To be honest, but back home to glorious Coatbridge.
Kev, this is the man from bloody Cumbernauld saying, Kilmarnock hate the place. I mean, seriously, Cumbernauld. Come on, Liam.
Oh, come on. I mean, you're an Airdrie man, Pat. I'm a Coatbridge man, Cumbernauld. Where is it you're from, Paul, originally?
East Kilbride.
Oh,
East
Kilbride.
So I've got nothing to say about Kilmarnock.
Just across the Eaglesham Moors.
Just over the moors, yeah.
Yeah. It was a quick trip home.
Yeah, it would have been. Very good. Right, lads, moving on to... So we've done, after that Hearts game, that was it confirmed. It's something that was on the cards since bloody October, let's face it. 6 in a row achieved officially. But in terms of personal highlights of Brendan's era so far, what would they be for yourself, Paul?
God, that's a tough one. I think the day when he came at Celtic Park was that straight away set something was going to be different this year. It really was an unexpected signing, I think, after what really was a limp over the line the previous season. And certainly the interest levels were kind of dropping off, because you're looking at a very plan A only and very dull team. And then suddenly everybody was on this wave. It reminded me very much of O'Neill when he came, that complete, 21 points behind the previous season. How on earth are we going to, we're so far behind, and then suddenly one man comes in and you believe him, and you're on that, you're on that pathway from the start. So to be honest, I think that was probably the highlight, the main highlight. From then, obviously him winning his first trophy, and I think he's very emotional. Talk about what that meant to him and his family. The 5-1, the first Old Firm game, just like O'Neill's 6-2.
Yeah.
I think that sort of stuff is definitely a highlight. So I think there's loads of them. I think obviously getting into the Champions League as well, but to top it was just actually the day he stood there with 10,000 plus at Celtic Park, welcoming a new manager who has so far more than exceeded my expectations.
It was pretty special that day, wasn't it? That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think you've covered bloody everything. I don't think you've left anything else for the rest of the lads there, Paul. A great summary. You said it was a tough one, and you've summarised the whole thing. Pat, have you got any other little memories, or want to make any other comments on some of those highlights that Paul mentioned?
Oh, definitely.
For the Brenda era so far.
Definitely, the Lincoln Red Imps away in Gibraltar. That was brilliant. That was just, that was the start of the the journey. Jesus. I've been a long way since then, but still a 5-1 game, really. You got to say, 5-1 game is as good as it gets, really. But yeah, qualifying the Hapoel Beersheva game, if I'm pronouncing it right. It's been a long time, but scraping through that one. Although that, again, the second leg of that was a bit of not so much a fizzle, it was just more relief, wasn't it? We get 2-0 over there, but Champions League, the Man City game, probably, the 3-3 game was just like something we haven't seen in a long time. But yeah, I mean, like
Musa was on fire that game as well, wasn't he?
It was just a brilliant game to watch, and it was it kind of put you on the map a little bit, and to come back after the Barcelona game as well, we got smashed over there. Was it 6-7-0? 7-0, wasn't it? 7-0, yeah.
7-0.
And then coming back to because I don't think probably most people wouldn't have given us a chance against any of the other teams after that. But I guess I got carried away as well. Even the Borussia Mönchengladbach game when we played them a few weeks later, you're kind of, you'd seen what we'd done to Man City, and you're thinking, that's it. We'll take this. We'll take the Germans easy, and then they come over and smash us. So, rather than smashes, but it was fairly comfortable for them in the end, really. Let's face it. But still a 5-1 game, I'd say. But the Hearts game as well, a couple of weeks ago, that was brilliant to watch. That was just like, players out enjoying themselves. The sun was shining. The fans were in good voice. And beating Hearts 5-0 at their patch as well. I mean, that's pretty good going. So mixed.
There's been plenty of bloody highlights, really, hasn't there?
Yep, absolutely.
Liam, have you got any more that you can think of that haven't been mentioned?
Well, I think I'd actually say, to talk a wee bit about Man City, I think both games against Man City, just because with me, I read a lot of the papers, obviously, with my work, and I watch a lot of stuff and see just the arrogance that was coming out of the English commentators. They thought it was going to be like a 5 or 6-0. They were like, this wee Celtic team, who are they? And we didn't beat them, but we held them twice.
Yeah, that's right.
We showed that we're able to compete with that level, and that's the thing. It was good. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been. Was it Jamie Redknapp? It was either Jamie Redknapp or Steve McMahon.
Robbie Savage certainly had a pop at Celtic.
No. There was one of them that was actually very fair with Celtic.
Oh right, okay. Yeah.
Actually, I think it was Jamie Redknapp. He said, "Look, Celtic played really well. They're worthy of it. Don't." You can slag Man City's defensive, but no, give Celtic respect. They played well and they've earned it,
Yeah.
And
just on that as well. At that moment, Man City were champions elect.
That's right.
They had won 10 games straight off, and they were looking invincible. And from that moment, they had a real wobble. They really, and that showed other teams that, you know what, this isn't that difficult to beat them. So I actually think it changed their season.
Well, they never fully recovered from it, Paul. I don't think they still haven't fully recovered from it. I think they steadied the ship a little bit, but no, it certainly it gave them a wobble, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I honestly can't think on any other particular highlights, boys, because I think you've covered pretty much everything. But that whole...
Kev, what about beating your hometown team in my hometown? It's not an Albion Rovers game. Come on, seriously.
Was that even under Brendan? That seems like so far away. There was a great goal from Scotty Sinclair in that game, but the wee Rovers. It was a misty day up in good old Airdrie Town, Gartley.
Excelsior, yeah.
The Excelsior, the Excelsior special. But
it's actually not in Gartley.
I wouldn't say it was a highlight, Pat. I would say it was a highlight. It was nice for the Rovers. Sorry.
It's not in Gartley.
Where is it?
Craig Nuke.
Is that Craig
Nuke? Craig Nuke, yeah. It's right on the edge. So.
On the edge of St. Petersburg.
Yeah. Excelsior Stadium, there you go. Classic. One of the classier names.
The Shibery Excelsior. The Shibery Excelsior. Did they lose the Shibery?
Oh, God knows.
Scotty Sinclair's goal, and that was a belter, though. Can't deny that. But yeah, that was just a good day for Coltbridge to see the Rovers, because the Rovers, it always used to be the thing. Like the Rovers was the perennial team that was always strapped for cash and never ever got a decent draw. They would always get drawn against Arbroath or Elgin, or get knocked out with one of these teams. They would never get anybody remotely attractive that they could get a decent payday from. So it was always nice to see them getting a wee turn by playing the beloved hoops, being a Coltbridge boy. So that was nice. So I'm actually, thanks to everybody that's commenting on the Spreaker chat room there, and a special hello and G-Day to Mr. Danny Reynolds, who's on there. Danny used to be, well, he still is, I guess, a member of the Mandra Celtic Supporters Club. Spent a bit of time over here, and with a few good nights watching the games together over here, and he's back in Manchester now with his new wifey. So good to hear you're listening, Danny. You should be working, I'm sure, though, this time of day. What time's it over there? 1 o'clock?
Yep,
1 o'clock, 1:05. Maybe you're on your lunch, Danny. Don't want to get you into bother, mate. But good to hear from you, mate. And everybody else that's commenting on there, keep the comments coming. If there's anything
there's a few Melbourne boys. Higgs is in there from Melbourne. Chris McMahon from Geelong. So yeah, there's a few Melbourne boys tuning in as well, giving their local support.
The Myrtle Beach Body CSC are in there as well. Good day, chats. From Myrtle Beach, good on them. Right, boys, we shall move onward. In terms of, we touched on it earlier on about our last few results, but the big elephant in the room all over since the weekend was, our result. The referee managed to snatch us a draw from the claws of victory, I suppose, with a few minutes to go on the clock at the weekend. We must have all, even if we didn't see the game live, we must have seen the replay countless times on countless social media forums. We don't really need to cover too much about was it a penalty or was it not a penalty. I think we all know what the reasons were, but in terms of, Pat, can you possibly explain how you think the referee could have given a penalty based on what he saw or didn't see? Have you given it thought at all?
Well, I have. I mean, you kind of watched it a couple of times, and I've watched the on the SPFL sort of YouTube channel. It's actually had just that incident, and you can even see like where the referee was, and even where the linesman was. It's astounding. Like, there's no way. Even now, I still can't think of how on earth both of them could get it so badly wrong. So, I mean, it's so badly wrong. I'm not sure. I think there was some comment about the fourth official, and even they missed it as well. But I'm not sure. I've never actually seen the fourth official really, kind of interact with the referee during a game and stuff. I don't know if that's ever been done, but between the two kind of main culprits here, the referee, linesman, there's just no way. I'm thinking about it now. There's just no way you could. Yeah. It's the sort of thing you do as a bit of a gag with your kids in the back garden having a kickabout, and they do a really, they fall over the ball and just make a complete meal of it, and that's what it was like. It was so comical. You just looked at it and just went, oh Jesus! When he first kind of heard kind of the roar, my initial thought was he's going to book the player for diving, just for that split second, and then it was like, no, you're joking me. Now even in a normal angle where the camera's kind of it's not quite the right angle, just a normal sort of camera in the sand. It wasn't quite at the right angle, but even that showed.
Yes,
it was not near it, and the referee. It's hard to say, but it didn't look as if there'd be anyone in his way. The referee is just out of picture; you can't quite catch him. But if you look early in the video, you can see where the linesman is, and the linesman is in a perfect spot. And he had to be.
He's got to be in line with the last defender, hasn't he?
He just goes beyond it, though. The play comes back a little bit. But at the same time, he's only the furthest he can be away is 20 yards. And there's, I'm honestly, I'm still laughing at it now, just thinking it's just so ridiculously bad. It's there's no words for it. But I don't know.
Liam,
cheating, incompetence. I don't know, lots of things are being thrown about. A Masonic conspiracy, but I can't see if you're going to be cheating the club, you wouldn't do it in that game. There's no merit in cheating Celtic at the moment because we're winning the league. But we're 2-1. The best that we're going to get out was a draw. I can't. What if you're going to cheat?
So it's just incompetence rather than cheating.
You just picked the wrong moment if you were going to be cheating. Put it that way. That's kind of my thought on it. But I don't know.
There might be some more moments on Sunday. I don't think it'll bother them. I don't think they're too embarrassed about when they cheat and when they don't. To be honest, that they could come up again on Sunday, but it was inexplicable. Liam, there was I don't know if you saw this, but there was an article that I caught. It was in the Scotsman. I caught it on News Now, I think, or something like that. But they apparently every week do a kind of explain the decision type thing. So this was the one that they were doing, and I think. Whoever the writer is for it, I'm guessing it's some ex-referee or something like this anyway, but they were trying to do their best to try and explain how they did not say it was a penalty. It was a penalty, of course. They said straight away it was certainly not a penalty, but he was just trying his best to explain how he could possibly have made the decision. And I think what he had kind of said was from the angle he was at and the positioning he was at, he might not have seen that there was such a gap between Sviatchenko and Schalk. It was something along these lines, and because Schalk had simulated his dive so well, it might have looked, or I think he said the referee, I think it's Don Robertson's the referee, he's anticipated Sviatchenko coming into contact with Schalk. And I think it actually said in the article, it was something along the lines of, you don't really want to give the guy credit, but the way he simulated it or dived made it believable that contact had been made just because of that whole idea of the distance between the two players maybe didn't seem as much as it did from different angles that we saw on the telly. Do you think the guy has got any merits with that at all, Liam, or is he just talking pure pish?
That's not just pure pish. That's like especially fermented 35-year vintage pish. That's what that is. No, there's no way you can even begin to justify that or explain it. It's cheating, pure and simple. And the referee is through either incompetence or malevolence is facilitating cheating, which is the exact opposite of what a referee is supposed to do, right? So not only is he incompetent, he's actively going against the tenets of his job. Now, let's say if you work for let's just say you work for a computer company, right? And
Yes,
Pat
well, he doesn't. He works for lawyers, but he works with computers.
Right. Well, let's say your job's a computer engineer, right? And you're asked to repair this computer, but you lose the rag and take a fucking hammer to the computer and smash it into a million pieces. You're going to get sacked, right? Because you've done the exact opposite of what you were paid to do. Now, that's what that referee's done. He's done the exact opposite of what his employer, the SFA, are supposed to be paying him to do. Now, truth be told, we know his employer is paying him to fucking put Celtic down at any cost, but that's a different story. But it's just see if you're going to cheat. See if the SFA really wants to cheat us out the league, right? There's far more subtle, harder to spot ways of doing it. Giving a penalty like that when it's clearly not a penalty, and everybody around the world can see it. I mean, Scottish football now. I mean, even fucking Derek Johnson the other night was saying it. He said, "Look, Scottish football referees are a joke now."
Yep.
Because nobody takes them seriously. And the thing is, it's making Scotland, the country, the country that we're all from, that we should be proud of, it's making our country look bad. Now, people from outside of Scotland don't realise the corruption, right? They're going to think, what the hell are these referees doing? And it's... people call me conspiracy theorists, whatever. I fully believe there is a concerted effort amongst the referees to mess up Celtic. I really do believe that it happens too often, and to us, it happens too often for it to be coincidental. Now, the other thing was, sorry, I'm in a bit of a rant here.
No, go for it. We like your rants, Liam.
I think it was that wee fucking prick, fucking turncoat Neil McCann, who was saying that he said, oh, well, Celtic have won the league by so many points. I mean, what does it matter? Try telling that to Inverness Cali, who might get relegated because of that. If or even the team that finishes below Ross County in the league now, if they finish below them by 1 point, you say, well, that point was gained under false pretences. And that's what they don't realise. This isn't just about Celtic and Ross County. It's about every team that's playing around them as well. Yeah. And when a referee makes a single mistake like that, it's just not on. It's not on. And the other thing about it is that, the amount of people who in the media who not only try to apologise for this, but actively fucking criticise Celtic for even raising the issue. I'm just like, how exactly, honestly, I bet the type of guys who tell rape victims they're asking for it. It's that kind of mentality. It is like, Celtic should have been 3-0 up at the time, so it shouldn't have mattered. It's like, fuck off. No, right? It's not. That's not the point. It's cheating.
Yes, yeah.
Call it what it is.
No, 100%.
Rant over.
No, a great rant as always. Great rant as always, Liam. I mean, Paul, Pat touched on this as well, but I mean, if the referee has not seen it clearly or whatever, again, the whole point is you can only make a decision if you're sure of that decision, I guess. But if he's been uncertain in any way, shape or form, then he's got to at least glance to his linesman there. But how the hell could the linesman miss it from the angle he was at?
No, I totally agree. I think when it comes to those decisions, anything in the box, you've got to be 100%. If there's even a slightest doubt, you don't give it. And a lot of referees end up, that's how they justify when they do miss a penalty. They can actually say, look, I didn't see it 100%. But this one, I mean, the basic rules of football, it can only be a foul if it includes kicking, tripping, striking an opponent or colliding with a player before connecting with the ball. That's the rules of the game. You can't get it so badly if it's not cheating. It only comes down to the fact that a player goes down in that box against that specific team, they will always give a penalty. That's what their first option will always be, and that's what he's done. And he's probably fuming because he's now been made to look like an absolute idiot. But he knows if anybody goes down in that box against Celtic, it's a penalty. So I think there'll be more to this story when it comes out. I actually think, my personal view from the player that did dive, 2 weeks is not enough. When there's physical contact and you can't fully determine if it was simulation, as they changed it to, or diving. But in a situation like that, where there was no contact within 2 foot, that it should be something like a 6-month ban, and that would simply stop him. He's come out and said it was out of character. You're like, you simulated that dive so perfectly. You did not.
Yes,
you've done that so many times.
Yes. So. And again, the ban,
the good one though, Kev, is the manager of, he was anticipating contact. That I did laugh at that one. He was anticipating contact, so because he was anticipating it, he went to the ground. Right. Okay, that kind of justifies it. Nah, I don't know.
It's bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit. The way he's thrown himself as well, as Paul said, he looks as if that's been well practiced and rehearsed. There's ways you can fall that look clumsy and all the rest of it, but again, if he has managed to con the ref by doing that, and if that Scotsman article had any signs of or credence of I guess credibility in it at all, then you could say the only way that he could have been fooled was because the dive was so bloody professional and so good. So, and that 2-game ban, it's, again, I agree with you there, but it's not going to deter players really. They've earned themselves what could be a fairly valuable point to them, and I think I can't remember what you get in the Premiership for every point earned or something, but the points are valuable to them. A 2-game ban, does he get an actual fine as well? Did he get a fine and a 2-game ban, or has he just got a 2-game ban for the team and no personal fine involved? Because if you hit these boys in the pocket and give them a lengthy ban, they'll think twice about doing it again potentially if they get caught. I think that 2-game ban, as I say, I don't even know, has the guy got a fine? That's not going to deter people. It's not. I think
that comes in. That's determined by the club. The club have different rules on whether they see it as a fair or an unfair verdict, and it's up to them. So I'm pretty sure it'll be an internal decision. They
could maybe give him a bonus for his for doing that. If it wins the team a penalty, he's done him a good turn, hasn't he? So it might be there's a few extra bucks in your pay packet this week, son. Not very well handled at all, but absolutely farcical. I was actually, when I went into work it was Tuesday actually, because I was up north on the Monday, but guys at I work beside that, they take a little interest, I suppose, in Celtic because they know I'm steeped in it. But even they, we were at a meeting, and one of the first things they said, what about that penalty against Celtic at the weekend? They'd even seen it just through, some feed on their own Facebook or Twitter or something like that. Not that they would follow like Celtic stuff on there, but it's obviously done the rounds. It's because it was such a bad and such an embarrassing decision in Scottish football. It just so happened that we were on the receiving end of it, but it's certainly got people talking about it, that's for sure. But
okay, I reckon
absolutely shocking.
There must have been something on Fox Sports or something, because I get a couple of questions on it as well. A couple of smart arse comments at work on the I think what was a long weekend, but so I'm guessing there must have been something on like cable TV or one of the sports channels. It was too easy for people to say, what about that penalty? And I'm going, are they talking about the same penalty I'm thinking of?
Exactly.
So yes, it made it all the way to Australia, and it was a bit of a laughing stock over here. So it used to be Scottish goalkeepers used to laugh at, now it's Scottish referees. So anyway.
And because there was such focus on the penalty incident, it's kind of, it was still talked about, but it's not been talked about anywhere near as much. But the red card for Scott Brown after it, now, what were your views on that, guys? I've heard different views about Bruni was, stupid. He backed his old self with a hot head and all the rest of it, and it was a shocking challenge. I've also heard it didn't look like a red, it was a yellow. What's your own thoughts on that one, Paul?
I think it was a mistimed tackle. I don't think it was getting the guy back for scoring the penalty or frustration. I just think it was a badly timed tackle, and considering tackles in that game, and particularly tackles this season that have went completely unpunished, or maybe just received a yellow card. It's never a red. But
you don't think it was a red?
Not in the scheme of the game of what's been allowed. I think if a referee wants to allow, a fair physical game, then players adjust to that level, and tackles like that were flying in. I don't think it was dangerous. I don't think the studs were high or it was going to the knee. I just think it was a badly timed tackle, but definitely deserved a booking. But I don't think it deserved the red. Liam,
your own thoughts on the Bruni red?
Well, I think I would agree with Paul. I think it was a yellow card, right? Because it was a rash challenge. But again, you've got to consider the circumstances, right? Now, is the referee going to apply a bit of common sense here and think, look, I've just given a dodgy penalty against them. The captain's rightly raging. And, Ross County are going to get a draw. And can we not just let it go a yellow card and just let it, Because the thing is, he was reaching for the yellow card. And then all the bloody whiny bitches in the Ross County team get round him and started screaming like children. Then he pulls out the red card. Players are not supposed to influence the referee. But from that point of view, to me, it was quite obvious the players influenced the referee on that occasion.
He's had a mare, hasn't he?
Not only has he made bad decisions, he doesn't have the guts to stand by his decisions either. He lacks the ability and the integrity of a referee, I think. And the other thing as well, though, just while I'm talking about it, with Bruni, is I don't think this is I don't think it's him going back to his old ways or anything like that. I've heard a lot of people try to detract from the penalty incident by vilifying Bruni, right?
Yeah.
It's not on. It's two completely different situations, two completely different issues within the game. And again, it stinks of victim blaming, Celtic were the team that were hard done by here. Don't try and make out that we are somehow to blame for this or we bring it on ourselves or anything like that pish.
Yes.
That was the way that some of the commentators were heading with it. Now, the other thing about the appeals process, right? Now, again, that appeals process is stupid, right? If you get a red card, you should be banned for the next game, right? And if you're going to appeal it, the appeal should be heard before the next game. And all this nonsense about holidays and whatever, no, nonsense. The SFA's own procedures worked against them there.
Yes.
But again, though, all the people who are bitching about it in the newspapers and on the phone-ins, it's like, well, guys, all the teams in the league were made aware of that rule that weekend. They were all made aware of the fact, look, any ban that gets appealed, the appeal's not going to be heard until a week later because of the Easter holidays. Right? Now, again, I think it's a stupid rule. I think it's a stupid procedure. I think it stinks of a lack of professionalism on the part of the SFA. But if that's the rule and everyone knows it, what the hell are they complaining about?
Yep, absolutely. Pat, in terms of if Scott Brown had have made that very same challenge 15 minutes into the game, would it have been a red?
I reckon so. I reckon I must be the only Celtic supporter in the whole world that thinks he should have been sent off for it, because I think there was an intention to be for revenge and what he'd done. Because that guy had basically there was two pretty much right after the goal. One was in the halfway line that I remember, where he basically barged him over from the back, and there was one a little bit earlier than that as well. And I reckon it was, and Brown knew who it was, and I think he saw an opportunity to basically take the guy out. And I'm not saying he tried to injure him and stuff like that, but I think he wanted to hit him hard and tackle him with a bit of force. I don't think it's necessarily the fact that it was the tackle was a bit late. I think it was more the intensity that it was done in. Because if you look, he is running full tilt, and okay, if you're 2 yards away from the guy and you make the same tackle, yeah, it's probably maybe even just a foul. But he probably runs 7, 8, 9, 10 yards to make that tackle at a pretty serious pace. And okay, we got the whole thing about, no, I didn't break his leg, it didn't break it, but it could have. It was a mistimed tackle, admittedly, but for me, I'm not saying he's back to his old ways and all that sort of stuff. I don't get all that nonsense.
He's definitely beyond. He's well beyond all of that.
But I think he could have played it smarter. There's ways and means to get back at people. I reckon that was he saw the opportunity there, and it's the same thing about you hit them hard, make them know you're there, that kind of thing. But and I think the guy saw him. I think he saw that playing out, because I think it was a bit of a. I'm not so much of a wind up, but I think I think Boyce is probably in his ear. I think there was a bit of banter going on when he barged him over. Brown fell over, and I think there's a bit of banter going on from that. And I think he's just, through the penalty incident and for the fact that he's been, I wouldn't say targeted, but he's certainly been, I guess, fouled with that guy. The fouls weren't even picked up. They weren't even retrospectively booked or anything like that. It was just the fact nothing ever happened about them. And I think he's just blown a fuse, and it happens to all of us at the best of times. And unfortunately for him, it was on a park and in front of cameras and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think he'll get off with the appeal personally, but I'm glad that they went through the process of doing it, because I think we do need him for the weekend. So again, it's fortunate for us just the way things have panned out. But yeah, I reckon I'm the only Celtic supporter from all the stuff I've read and all the stuff I've heard, and that sort of thing. I think I'm the only one that actually thinks he should have been sent off. If that was against us, we'd have been calling for the sending off. If that was someone tackling, Lee Griffiths, we'd have been screaming for that. So anyway, Kev, what do you think?
Again, I'll go against you, Pat. I think, and I'll be honest as well, guys. I haven't seen too many replays of it. My thoughts and my views were formed from what I saw just on the match itself and the replays that they showed. So I'll be honest. I thought it was a yellow. I didn't think it merited a red, and I think it's, as the guys have just suggested, it's because of everything that had happened. There's been a reaction. I think, Liam, you mentioned there's been a reaction from the Ross County players to pressure the ref into making it a red. Whereas we've seen decisions that referee's given before that I'm sure we all saw the still picture of the tackle that a Motherwell player made on Kieran Tierney that only merited a yellow card as well. So if we're talking about refs and consistency, one thing you'd expect to be consistent is the same referee making the same type of decisions for similar situations. But when you've got the same referee making different decisions on a similar situation or similar event, it's that makes it even more of a mockery about the sheer poor lack of consistency by the refereeing standards in Scottish football. So I reckon if that tackle was made 15 minutes into the game, it would have been a yellow card. It's because of the whole circumstances that surrounded it. I think he made it into that red card as well. I guess if the only positive that I can see coming out of that game a couple of positives. One, we keep the unbeaten run going. We didn't lose the game. We've got to remember that. But secondly, there's going to be a hell of a lot of the team talk that Brendan will be giving the guys ahead of the game on Sunday. A lot of the motivation is going to come out of what happened at the tail end of the last 5 minutes of that game against Ross County on Sunday. There's going to be a lot of players hurting there. You just had to look at, even the reason I knew it was a penalty when a penalty had been awarded, I should say, was watching Craig Gordon's reaction. They were furious at the decision that had went against them. So as a team, I think the anger that they'll have will give them that little extra G, I suppose, if they needed any extra motivation ahead of Sunday's game. What with the penalty and what with Bruni getting sent off, and given Bruni that's going to be there, they'll be right in his face from the word go. On Sunday, I'm pretty sure of it, to see if there's any other reaction from it. But I think Bruni he certainly has matured an awful lot since his younger days, and maybe we did see a little tiny snippet of it on Sunday in the heat of the moment. But he'll be mentally prepared for this one on Sunday, and I think there will be great motivation for the players, as if any more was needed. That's maybe another thing that will come out of it. I guess we'll lead on to the big game coming up on Sunday, guys, as well. before we wrap this one up. But it's the Scottish Cup semi-final. It's at Hamdemonium against the old Sevco, and it's possibly one of the last. Well, it is one of the last hurdles to us achieving a treble this season. So let's go around, you guys, and let's get your thoughts on the build up to it, what we can expect, and of course score predictions. And I'll come to you first, Paul.
All right, fair enough. I think there's one thing about these games, whether it's the new Sevco or the old history, that you could always make them into bigger games than the last one. And I think this, with the new manager, and obviously his previous connections with Celtic, etc., and the fact that he has the best squad in Scotland, just adds the drama, to making this game. I mean, they're so off the pace, and the golfing qualities there, but with these games, they're just they're unique. Anything can sort of happen. The last game, again, we saw the refereeing decision is on the opposite box, where there's a clear penalty. But it's no way was it going to be given, not in those circumstances at the very end of a game. So look, I think it'll be a similar game, I think, to the last one, where I think Rangers will give it. It'll be ugly, chasing, a lot of energy. It's a cup final. It's their last chance, or cup semi-final, technically. But it's the only thing that can salvage their season is getting into that into the cup final. So they'll be throwing everything at it. I think we just have to go in there with cool heads and play the football that we can play, and don't get caught up. I think the other game we get caught up in and brought down to their level, which was Sunday kick and rush, and I think hopefully we've learned from that. I'm sure we have, that we'll give them the time. They can knock the ball as many times across the halfway line, but we just don't let them get into dangerous areas. I will go though for 2-1 to Celtic.
Oh, quite tight then. Are you going to give us the Celtic goal scorers? You can forget the Sevco one.
I think it will be Armstrong and a defender. I think just the way that the game will pan out, I think we'll score from a set piece. I think Armstrong at the moment he's shooting where we are, because they'll have plenty of people in the box. I don't think we'll get as much joy running through the back line as we did in the previous games. So I think it'll be a lot of edge of the box stuff, but. Yeah, I don't really care who scores them.
No,
so,
true.
True. I don't care if it's 2. So but I'm really looking forward to it. I think cup games have a different edge to them than league games when the league's wrapped up.
Very good, Liam. What about your own thoughts to the game on Sunday?
I'm inclined to agree with a lot of what Paul says there. I think if you liken it to a boxing match, right? You've got the classy fighter who knows what he's doing up against the brawler who might get a lucky punch in here or there. And we've got to go into it and play our game. We can't get drawn down to... Because they'll go in and kick us and they'll probably get away with it. They'll bite and they'll snarl and they'll squeal and they'll do everything they can to try and throw us off a regular game. And last time, I think that kind of worked for them.
Yep.
But this time, I think we've learned a lesson for that, and I think a couple of Celtics performances recently have been a wee bit flat, and I think we just need to send a message out that they think they're getting close to us. No, boys, you're not even close. Just as I said before, keep fighting evolution. Don't waste your time trying to fight us.
What about a score prediction, Liam?
Yeah, I think I'll go for a 3-1. But I've got a feeling the Huns might score first.
Oh, okay. And what about any scorers? You want to throw some Celtic scorers in there for us?
Again, I think a header for a corner might be a possibility. So I'll go for maybe Sviatchenko. And again, Armstrong's a good shout. So I'll say Sinclair, Armstrong, and Sviatchenko, goal scorers.
Very good.
And Miller will score for the Huns because he's the only player that actually does anything for them these days. So.
Very good, Liam. Very good. But we would take a 3-1, I'm sure. Pat, what's your own thoughts and score predictions for Sunday?
I think what's interesting is there's a few positions in the actual team, but who's going to play in those spots. You know, central defence has been flagged as a bit of an issue, especially with Sviatchenko. People aren't really too keen on him at the moment. I think he's making lots of mistakes. Do you bring in Boyata, put him in there, you know, but Sviatchenko's a bit of a smarter player, and I think that's what you have to be when you're playing against Kenny Miller, because as Liam said, that he's kind of primarily the only threat they've got, really. Lee Wallace is probably one of their other threats, but he's out injured, so doesn't leave him with a hell of a lot. But so central defence is one. I'm going to take a punt and say that Lustig will come back in at right back. I don't think they'll be doing. They certainly won't, I don't think we're doing a back three. I don't think Gamboa will be chosen to start the game anyway. But we've also got up front to decide. You know, do we go Dembele? Do we go Griffiths? Do we go neither? Do we do the Patrick Roberts? You know, the floating forward.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these kind of things. Does Rogic start? Does Forrest start? Would you say, would you take Forrest out and put Roberts in? There's like, I mean, it's keeping me guessing, so I guess it's going to be keeping the guessing about who they're going to throw out there as well. So, not Beaton. I don't know if he's injured or not, whether he comes back in, but I don't know. I mean, it just really depends on what the surface again. Again, it depends on what the Aberdeen Hibs game, where it leaves the surface in. If it's going to be a kind of bobbly kind of surface, do you want to put Roberts in there because he kind of depends on that sort of decent surface to take players on. If the ball's bouncing all over the place, it's not really his I guess kind of his environment. But you know, in that case, you put Forrest in there because he's faster, and you know, I don't think their backline is particularly fast, and certainly in the centre anyway. So I would take a punt and say Dembele would start, but he was a bit off the pace at the Ross County game, so I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Thank God we're not the managers, Pat.
I know.
You're right.
Well,
there's a few decisions to be made. It'll be interesting to see. I think,
I reckon Boyata will come in. I don't think he has much faith in Sviatchenko at the moment. I reckon he'd be third out of the three central defenders, and Christ, even if Ambrose there, it might have been fourth out of the defenders. But I think he's in there. But I'm guessing Boyata's injured. But you say he wasn't on the bench on, was he? I don't think he was on the bench on Sunday.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure he wasn't. But so if he's still injured, then yeah, I mean that's the way it goes. But they'll stick with what they had in the game in the weekend there. So I would love Kieran Tierney to score a goal against them, just to see his reaction. I would absolutely. I reckon he would just self-combust. I don't think he'd be able to contain himself. Throw himself into the crowd. Oh, jeez, I would just love it. Fuck it. I'm going to take a punt and say Tierney's going to score. Yeah, right. Tierney's going to score.
Like 2 games in a row.
Tierney's going to score and Sinclair's going to score. I reckon Sinclair's got a lot to prove. After that last game against him, he was filthy. He was rubbish. I reckon he's got a lot to prove. So I reckon Dembele could do something. I think he's just again a little bit off the pace at the moment, and not that Clint Hill or any of the what's the other guy, Danny Wilson, they're not up to too much exactly, but I reckon I reckon they'll team up against him. I think they'll keep him out of it. But at least 2. Should I go for a 3? Is there going to be 3 goals in it? No, I'll go for the 2. I'll go 2-1 as well. And yeah, Kenny Misser will score for them. It'll be a token. Actually, there you go. It'll be a token gesture at the end. It'll be 2-0 to us. We'll be cruising. He'll score, and then it'll be panic stations. It'll be a really nervy ending.
Okay.
And is anyone going to score an overhead kick this week? Okay, Sinclair's going to score an overhead kick. There you go. Eventually I'm going to get one of these right. Somebody is going to score an overhead kick. You do realise that?
One of these days, Pat.
One of these days,
maybe you'll be right, mate.
Right. So there you go. 2-1. And Sinclair and Tierney.
Okay. Well, boys, I'm going to saddened by the fact that all three of you have predicted that the Huns will score against us. Even with Kenny Misser, it's bizarre how. Remember when Kenny Misser was playing for us? Did any one of you think he was anywhere near our best player or biggest threat? I don't ever recall thinking that with Kenny Misser. I always thought he was just a wee trier and a wee plodder and nothing better than that.
He was a downsized striker at the time of Stratton, is all he was.
He really was, and here we are talking about Kenny Misser being arguably their best player in their team, or their most dangerous player in their team. It's just bizarre how far they've fallen, I suppose, as a result of that. But anyway, that aside,
you mean how much the new club has risen?
Exactly.
Yes,
Kev.
well, true.
Sorry for falling in. Yeah.
True. You're the exact opposite of what I've just said there. But yeah, Kenny Misser, bloody hell, unbelievable that we're worried about that guy. Anyway, you're right. He does seem to have a bizarre scoring record against us, but I'm not having any of that for Sunday. I reckon. I do think it's going to be quite difficult to predict the team. I tend to think at the centre back position, I think they'll stick with Sviatchenko and Simunovic. I'm not sure if Boyata has been injured, but I think Boyata, he's missed a few games now as well, and I don't think it's the type of game you want to just throw somebody into that's been warming the bench for a little while. Maybe they've been trying to keep him fresh for this game. I don't know, but I don't think Sviatchenko would be that far behind Boyata in the pecking order. I do think Sviatchenko had a poor game against the Huns at Celtic Park by his standards, but it was by no means a disastrous game. I think it was just by his standards it was poorer than normal. So I reckon they'll stick with Simunovic, and Sviatchenko will have Lustig at right back and KT at left back. The whole Forrest and Roberts thing, who knows who could start again. Paddy came on and scored an excellent goal the other night that we thought was going to win us the game. We know how it panned out, but he's done well coming off the bench for us in a couple of games recently. It'll be interesting to see does he stick with giving Forrest the start. He's not done too badly with Forrest, to be fair, over the last few games, but when Paddy has started a game, he's maybe not as effective as he has been when he's been coming off the bench. So that'll be an interesting one to see who he pitches in ahead of the other. Dembele, totally agree. He's not been on the boil very much recently, but as they like to say, he likes the bigger games. He's a big game player. I hope he is on Sunday if he does start. Wee Griff might get a shout. And Sinky, I agree, Sinky needs to step up in this game because he was posted missing in the last one. But in terms, I'm going to go for a 2-0 boys. I don't think they will score against us this weekend. I think it will be a reasonably comfortable 2-0 victory. And my goal scorers will be Stuart Armstrong, as a couple of you had said, and Scott Sinclair. They're my two goal scorers. Little comfortable 2-0 victory into the final, green and white final, hopefully, against Neil Lennon's High Bees. That'll do me nicely. Thank you very much. So, sounds boys, good. Where are you all watching it on Sunday then, Paul? What's your plans for it, mate?
I'll actually be over in Perth, so I'll hopefully catching up with Davey up at Roses.
Excellent.
So, I think it'll be a full crowd and be good.
That'll be excellent, mate. Oh, well, it'll be chock-a-block. I'm sure Davey's sorting you in because it's always members only up at Roses, of course, but given that you're doing that interstate special...
we've had a conversation, yeah. So
wonderful. That's good. Excellent stuff. It should be a great night up there. And of course, it's a wonderful kick-off time over this side of the country, Paul, as well. A nice little 7 p.m.
Exactly. Perfect.
Can't beat it. The only downside is it is a Sunday night and not a Saturday night. So, but it's not too bad. Are you flying back over on the Monday?
No, staying till the Wednesday.
Oh,
so,
excellent.
Long weekend. So yeah, be perfect.
Fantastic, buddy. No, that sounds good. What about yourself, Liam? Will you manage to catch the game up in Osaka?
Yeah, I'll be watching it probably in the house. I think get a feed on the go and just watch it.
It won't be broadcast on any of the sports channels up there or anything, no?
I wouldn't think so. No, it's sadly the only football you really get on the telly here is either English or Italian, or occasionally a German game if there's a Japanese player playing in it. But that's pretty much it.
What about when Naka was there? Did they show the Celtic games when Naka was there?
Aye. I mean, at that time, Nakamura was considered Japan's best player. So, he was. Every game was live. But these days, it's no. There's no. The Japanese need to have some sort of interest in the individual players, and because Scottish football doesn't really have any like global superstars, it's not really. Yeah. Because they don't have like. We are Celtic fans, or you're Rangers fans, or you're Aberdeen fans, whatever. Here, it's like you're a Beckham fan, or you're a Ronaldo fan, or they watch the individual players. So when Nakamura went to Spain, they all started watching Spanish games. It was like they lost interest in what we were doing, and that's just the way it is here.
Yeah.
I'll get a carry out, get it on the big telly, and.
Excellent.
See if my hun pal wants to come and watch it with me.
Fun and games, mate. Fun and games. Patrick, your good self. Now we've had a little bit of a fright this morning. There was one of the boys down in Adelaide had put a post on the Perth CSC, and I was up at the crack of a sparrow's fart this morning. Saw the post on their Facebook page saying that beIN Sports, who are the broadcasters in Oz, dear old Oz, weren't showing the game live on Sunday. So this was a bit of a fright and a shock for all of us in Oz with Foxtel, because I think we all just assumed that this was it was as always going to be broadcast live. But I had went back to say, we checked the schedules and it had just said to be advised. It hadn't committed that there was some other game on the channel, beIN Sports 3. So that gave us a slight bit of hope until your man, and I can't remember his name, replied, and he actually had a response from beIN Sports Australia itself to say that they were unable to show it, but they were, however, going to be showing highlights, exclusive highlights the day after or whatever the hell it was, which was bullshit anyway. How anybody could think that makes up for not being able to see the live game, I will never know. So there was a bit of panic. I did message beIN Sports Australia myself this morning before I went off to work, and I'd try to put a message out to some of the other Aussie CSCs to say let's all try to lobby this mob to see if it's not too late to get some kind of something done on it. I didn't manage to check my messages until I got in just shortly before we started this podcast this evening, but I did get a tweet back from beIN Sports Australia to say, hi Kevin, we're still negotiating the rights to broadcast the game, so all is not yet lost, hopefully. There's still a couple of days that beIN Sports hopefully will be able to negotiate the rights, presumably with the SFA, if it's their competition, I'm guessing. No doubt they'll be trying to line their pockets as much as they can, the SFA, but I truly hope we'll be able to see it live, because if we can't, then the option open for us supporters clubs in Oz and elsewhere outside the UK and Ireland, I suppose, is good old Celtic TV subscriptions rather than dodgy streams. So I know I'd much rather be watching it on beIN Sports, because you've got the reliability of a television feed rather than an internet stream to be beamed up on the big screen. But yeah, have you heard anything else even since we've been on air, Pax? I know that was kind of breaking news for us just as we came on air. But in terms of what would be happening for the Jock Stein CSC over in Melbourne, what are your plans going to be on Sunday?
Yeah, about the same as you guys. Fingers crossed that BN do the right thing. Not that I'm a subscriber, but I would put in a complaint if I was a subscriber. But certainly a few of our guys were lobbying them, as you said, Kev. So I don't know. It's for someone who works in IT, I would never put faith in a decent internet stream to watch a game. I would much rather watch it through satellite TV or something, or cable TV. It is what it is. First world problems and all that sort of stuff. But we are still lined up to show the game on Sunday night anyway. But I think there's talk of the guys going up tomorrow or on Saturday to test. I think Celtic TV or some sort of stream for the game, because it's now desperation stages. They are definitely showing on beIN the other game. I've seen that. I've actually got the Twitter page up now, kind of hoping that something would just pop in while doing this podcast. Well,
Chris McMahon in the chat room there saying that he's just checked it again there, and it still says it's to be advised. Now, my take on that is that's better news than them confirming that they're showing a fucking Derby County v Blackburn game or something like that.
That's right.
So while it still says to be advised, there's still maybe some hope. It wasn't great that we got that message, or we saw that message from the guy from Adelaide had received this morning, but I've still not given up hope, because what are we, Thursday just now? We'll still get Friday, Saturday for them to try and come to some kind of agreement. I think beIN again, it's if as many people, especially in Oz, obviously can just pester them, especially actual subscribers, then hopefully they'll understand that there is going to be a big enough demand. They should already know, because they must know what their viewing figures are like when these games are on. I'm sure they would want to, but maybe the SFA have upped the ante in terms of what they ask for these screening rights, or whether it's the SFA or whether it's through the host broadcaster, who is either going to be Sky or BT Sports back in Scotland. I guess that could be the only other reason. It's maybe them that are holding beIN to ransom. I don't know that the BBC Scotland still show these games live with their own shitty commentary and shitty graphics and basically dour presentation style. But
I think they just show 5 minutes of them, don't they? Is that not usually what they do?
I'm not sure. Sometimes I've seen coverage over here of Scottish Cup games, and it does appear to be the BBC Scotland feed that gets presented as part of the beIN Sports, I guess, presentation. So BBC would be the host broadcaster for some of them, but more often than not, it is Sky that seems to have the Scottish Cup games, I think. I just hope beIN can sort something out there, because it would be, again, not one CSC over here I think had any doubt at all in their mind until this morning that everybody was just assuming that the game's going to be on beIN Sports, and all the pubs would have it. Any pub that subscribes to Fox Sports gets beIN Sports automatically. So yeah, we've all just been assuming. It was only this morning we got a slight panic set in, but there's still a bit of hope they might be able to get a deal. So hopefully it is watching it through the telly rather than watching it via a stream, because as you say, Pat, you're relying on having a good connection and a good feed.
And Celtic TV is behaving itself as well, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly, yeah. There's too many little variables that can mess things up. So,
well, I just checked.
But let's hope
Sky
it works.
Sky TV have got the rights for it, so just checked there. So they're showing the game live. But yeah, it depends whether it's, as you said, the SFA are the ones negotiating, or whether it's Sky have the rights to sell it, or who knows. But the interesting thing, as I said to you just before we we went live, is that there's on BN3. There's actually a football rivalries Old Firm Derby show on about half an hour before the Celtic Rangers game. So
yes,
which
so you think they're trying to.
I guess it would at least make you think that they're not expecting it. But
well, I'm wondering if what's happened is when they've been trying to schedule their programming, they've put it up there themselves maybe a few weeks ago, and hence why they've scheduled that rivalries thing before the game as part of the build-up, and then maybe it's only in the last couple of days whoever has got the rights to it have said, right, wait a minute here, if you want to be broadcasting this game in your country, you're going to have to stump up this, and they've had to kind of pull the plug on confirming it until such times as they've negotiated a new price for it. That's maybe one way of looking at it as to why they've got that, or they're very confident that they will get it, they've just not got final confirmation, but they're still showing that football rivalries programme before it. But yeah, it does seem a bit odd. But with the whole timing of it as well, the programme, the To Be Advised programme is scheduled to start at 5 minutes before the kick-off time and things like that. So I've not given up.
There's a 25-minute thing before it as well, which they normally do a preview for the derby matches as well. Normally it's flipping Andy Joyce and Derek White, which is fucking painful. Anyway, that's another story. But so normally get the two of them babbling on some shit. And to be fair, Ali McCoy's actually all right. He's normally pretty fair on BN as well, but I think they've got the same sort of broadcast. I think they do in the Middle East as well. So I think it's not just for Australian market or New Zealand market or whatever, but I think it's actually for the Middle Eastern market as well. So, but yeah, we're hopeful. But at this stage, the game is being shown by Jockstein Celtic Sports Club in Melbourne. Kick-off in Melbourne's 9 o'clock on Sunday night. So the following week is the other derby match at Shitdome. So that's another 9 o'clock on a Saturday night kick-off, which is kind of ideal for us.
Oh, it's a belter. That's a belter of a time. Saturday night, 9 p.m.
I reckon we'll get 300, if not more, folk in there. It'll be that busy, I reckon. What do you reckon, Paul? I reckon it'll be absolutely heaving.
Yeah, I think that'll be a massive game. I think we've got plans for entertainment and everything on that to really make it a big event with it being such an unusual kick-off time for us. To really, we've had a great season with the supporters club. You might have seen on the website we recently had a big donation to one of the local charities.
Yes,
Hilda, and that's see that. Really on the back of having a great pub, Elephant and Wheelbarrow now, but also the number of people that are coming to those particular games. So
excellent.
Through their help, it's helping a worthy charity in Melbourne.
Excellent. And I guess if we do manage to get the right result this Sunday, that's going to help the numbers even more so for the following Sunday. To see if we can hopefully tee off the season beautifully by just stuffing them again at the piggery. But time will tell. We'll see. So over here in WA, we'll obviously, Paul, as you said, the Perth CSC, they've got their show up at Rosie O'Grady's in Northbridge. It's a 7 o'clock kick-off on Sunday night in WA, which is excellent. We'll be watching it, Mandurah CSC in Murphy's. If any of you are in the area, please feel free to come along. We're obviously a lot smaller club than the Perth CSC, so we're in the fortunate position that we don't have to stipulate that you have to be a member of our club to come in and join us and watch the game. As long as you've got I'd even say as long as you've got an interest in Celtic, you'd be made more than welcome to join us and watch the game on Sunday at Murphy's on the Mandurah foreshore. So if you're in the area, pop down. And again, we'll hope to have the game on the following week again against them. And seven again. It's a 7 o'clock kick-off on the Saturday night this time next weekend. So again, that's even better than the 9 o'clock for you boys. It's it's always a good time with these weekend kickoffs in WA. It's one thing we're very lucky with over here, this side of the country. So, with unless we've got anything else to add or say, boys, I think we'll try and wrap it up at that. But Paul, have you got any final little words or shout-outs before we knock it on the head, buddy?
No, not really. Apart from, I'd like to just thank Sean and Stevie, who were the two coaches that came over to Melbourne. They represented the club impeccably. They were a lot of fun, great coaches, very knowledgeable, but that's the level of coaching that these guys, they deliver in North America, Ireland, and now over here. It's a real credit to the entire academy programme. So big thanks to them.
Excellent, Paul. Excellent, mate. And enjoy your time up at Rosie's on Sunday, mate. Make sure they look after you up there. Make sure Davey keeps the drink coming, seeing as you're a visitor.
I'll drop your name, Kevin. We'll be well.
Aye, tell him those pint sales, Kev, to direct them your way, and Andy Gordon as well, for that matter, and especially Big Brian Doherty and James Burns Oz. Get a few pints off them, mate. They'll look after you.
Thank you.
Liam, what about yourself? Any final words, any parting words before we say goodnight?
No, just anybody that's listening that's going to the game, as usual, keep your wits about you and just enjoy yourselves, and hope we give them a good tanking. But just stay safe, boys, and all the best.
All good. Pat, any final words from yourself, mate?
Well, just a shout out to the other podcasts in Hill Hill Media. There's been a few departures in recent times, so but we're still here, still going strong. Like, we do podcasts as much as we can, but
I'm not sure if we're going strong, Pat, but we're going.
We're going, right? I'll get to that bit out later. That's all right. So you've got Colonial Podcast doing stuff, Smelly Glove, the History Boys abroad. Chris has posted the Celtic Graves stuff recently for James Kelly. So still a few things going on at Hill Hill Media as well. So I think they are looking, if anyone's interested, for anyone who likes writing sort of about Celtic and their experiences and stuff. I think they're looking for bloggers to contribute to the website as well. So if anyone's interested, then get in touch. I'm sure the guys would be interested as well. But also, I guess if anyone's interested in doing a podcast, it's not really that hard to do these days. But if you're interested in doing any Celtic podcasts, then get in touch with one of the podcasts around, whether Smelly Glove or Colonial guys, depending where you are in the world. But yeah, just get in touch and if you fancy doing that. But one big shout out I did want to do. Now, I don't know if this has been fixed or not, or whether there's an alternative, but I'm sure all of us at some stage on YouTube have been on the Jinxie Johnson page. Whether it's looking for a certain bit of audio or a bit of video or a post-match review and stuff like that, well, the Jinxie Johnson YouTube channel got closed down because of copyright. And I don't know who you are, mate, but thank you very much for the service you provided. Hopefully you can pop up again somewhere else and provide the same level of service, because you've been an absolute godsend.
I take it you use that site for all your sound bites, Pat.
I did use it for some of them. I don't hide that fact, but no, I used to post a lot of the post-match stuff. So the interviews, the sort of stuff that you'd be watching on BN Sports, and then just when it gets to the end of the game, they go straight to an advert, and that's
yes.
You would have the Brendan Rodgers interviews, or the guy getting presented with the champagne for the man of the match. Any of those little 1 minute, 2 minute interviews, and it really was a godsend. So it'd be hard work to do, and no doubt you got a bit of a slap in the wrist for it. But Jinxie Johnson from YouTube, hopefully you're finding your new channel that we can we can all benefit from down the track. So if anybody knows him, please pass on my regards. Tell him thank you very much. So, but yes, so that was a little shout out, but nothing more than that. And any of my cousins who can be bothered listening, Brendan, if you're listening, it'll be the first time. Thanks for it. Thanks for your support anyway, cuz. And that's about it, really.
Very good, very good. I'll just say hail to everybody back in Coatbridge and Erngobra CSC in particular. Everybody in Amanda CSC as well. I'll see you all on Sunday for the game. And I think with that, Pat, we shall wrap it up. And I think you've just got nothing in particular to play us out with this evening, eh?
Tommy's Tune, just the regular.
Tommy's Tune. Take it away,
Mongo's-
Tommy's
Mongo
Tune.
song. All right, guys. Happy
Very
days.
good. Hail, hail, lads.
Well,
Cheers, lads. All the best.